She loves preaching about marriage, but look at her, just a useless, single mother. My brother mocked me loudly at a family celebration. The words hung in the air like poison. Every head turned toward me. Tears filled my eyes. That's when I revealed the secret I'd buried for years, the affair he'd been hiding from his wife. Hi, I'm Selena, a 34-year-old school social worker in Philadelphia. I'm a single mother raising a beautiful 6-year-old angel, Anna. Her father left when she turned 2, and I swore to give my daughter the best life possible. I was doing a good job at it, but my brother didn't think so. He was always quick to mock me for being a single mother. Growing up with Nate in Rittenhouse Square, I learned early that family love depended on the child's personality. I was calm, soft-spoken, and gentle. The sister who didn't mind being talked down to. Nate, my younger brother, was the spark, the charmer, the one who could smile his way out of consequences. When Nate crashed Dad's car junior year, it was boys being boys. When I forgot to call home from college once, I got a lecture about responsibility. I became a social worker after watching my childhood friend battle depression in high school. I wanted to be the person who reached struggling kids before it was too late. Nate never understood. To him, my career was a punchline. "So you're basically a professional advice giver," he'd say at family gatherings. His friends would laugh, and I'd force a smile. After Anna's father left, the mockery intensified. Single motherhood became Nate's favorite target. I hardly took any offense at his words because I loved him so much. He had a secret, a 5-year affair with his wife's best friend. One he had begged me to keep from Paula and our parents after I found out and confronted him. One that would eventually detonate at the worst possible moment. Last month, our parents threw Nate a celebration for his promotion at a finance firm. The house in Rittenhouse Square gleamed with preparation. I arrived early, excited for my brother and eager to celebrate with him. Family loyalty runs deeper than self-preservation sometimes. "You didn't need to come so early," Mom said, adjusting wine glasses on the table. "But since you're here, can you check if we have enough ice?" Nate wants everything to be perfect. Nate's perfection. Always the priority. Guests filtered in throughout the evening. Aunts, uncles, cousins, Nate's colleagues in expensive suits. And at the center of it all, Nate arrived with his wife Paula, both dressed like they'd stepped out of a magazine spread. Paula was radiant, her hand tucked into Nate's elbow as he worked the room. "Paula is the best thing that ever happened to me," Nate announced to a cluster of relatives. "I'm the luckiest man alive." Paula's best friend Sasha was there too, hovering near the couple, her compliments flowing like rehearsed lines. "Paula, you're so lucky to have Nate. He's incredible." She touched Nate's shoulder when she said it, her smile just a shade too bright. I watched from across the room, my stomach tightening. I'd seen that dynamic before. I knew what it meant. Dinner began with toasts and laughter. I sat across from Nate and Paula, positioned for maximum visibility. Nate's eyes found mine repeatedly, that familiar glint of mischief signaling trouble. Over appetizers, he started gently. "So, Selena, how's work? Still getting paid minimum wage to hand out tissues and tell kids everything will be okay?" A few people chuckled. I kept my voice level. "I help students navigate difficult situations. It's rewarding." He leaned forward. "Must be exhausting though, right? Playing therapist all day, then going home to raise a kid whose father didn't want to stick around. That's a lot of rejection for one person." My father frowned. "Nate, that's inappropriate." But Nate was warming up, his confidence building with the audience's attention. "I'm just saying most single moms I know at least have the decency to admit they're struggling. But Selena here? She acts like she's got it all figured out." Paula touched his arm. "Honey, maybe we should talk about something else." He ignored her, his gaze locked on me. "You know what really gets me? Anna doesn't even have a father in her life. No male role model. No stability. Just you, scrambling to be enough when we all know you're not." My mother tried to redirect. "Nate, tell us about your new position." He obliged for a few minutes, describing his promotion, his expanded responsibilities, his bright future. But his attention kept drifting back to me, waiting for a reaction I refused to give. By the main course, his restraint evaporated entirely. "You know what I admire about you, Selena?" His tone dripped with false sincerity. "You just keep going, giving advice about marriage and—" My cousin interrupted him and spoke up. "Selena's doing an amazing job with Anna." Nate waved dismissively. "Oh, I'm sure she tries. But let's be honest." He paused, his smile sharpening. "She couldn't even keep a man interested long enough to stay. What kind of example is that for her daughter?" My mother inhaled sharply. "Nate, that's enough." But he wasn't finished. He leaned back, arms crossed, his voice carrying across the suddenly silent room. "She loves preaching about marriage and family, but look at her, just a useless single mother who couldn't even keep her own family together." The silence that followed felt physical. I felt every eye on me, felt the weight of years of swallowed hurt, felt Anna's face in my mind, her trust, her innocence. My hands were steady as I set down my fork. The clink against the plate cut through the silence. "You want to talk about marriage, Nate?" His expression shifted slightly. A flicker of uncertainty. "You want to discuss what makes relationships work?" My voice was calm, but something in it made the room hold its breath. "Then, let's talk about your marriage. Let's talk about the secret you begged me to keep from your wife 5 years ago." Nate's face drained of color. "Selena, don't." Paula turned to him, confusion creasing her forehead. "What secret?" I looked at Sasha, who'd gone completely still, her wine glass frozen halfway to her lips. 5 years ago, I discovered my brother was having an affair, while married to Paula. I paused, letting the words settle. "With you, Sasha." The glass slipped from Sasha's hand, red wine spreading across the white tablecloth like blood. Paula's laugh came out sharp, disbelieving. That's ridiculous. Selena, what are you doing?" "Paula, she's lying," Sasha said quickly, her voice high and strained. "She's just trying to deflect from what Nate said. This is insane." "Am I?" I pulled out my phone, my hands still steady. "I have the screenshots, Paula. The messages. I kept them in case this day ever came." Nate lunged forward, his chair scraping violently against the floor. "You had no right to keep those. You promised." "I promised nothing." I cut him off. "I found the messages between them. Flirtatious texts. Plans to meet. I saw them together one afternoon outside a hotel on Walnut Street. So I confronted Nate privately." The room had gone deathly quiet. Someone's fork clattered against a plate. "He begged me not to tell Paula. Promised he'd end it immediately. Swore he'd be better." I met his eyes. "But you never ended it, did you, Nate?" Paula's hands gripped the edge of the table, knuckles white. "Nate." Her voice was barely a whisper. "Tell me she's lying." Nate's mouth opened and closed. No sound came out. Sasha stood abruptly, her chair tipping backward. "Paula, it wasn't. It's not what you think. It was a mistake. A stupid mistake that meant nothing." "How long?" Paula's voice cracked, louder now. She turned to face Sasha fully, mascara already beginning to streak. "How long, Sasha?" Sasha's hands flew to her face. "Paula, please." "How long?" Paula screamed at Sasha. The silence that followed was suffocating. 5 years, I said quietly. "It's been 5 years." Paula stood abruptly, her face flushed with shock and rage as she faced Nate. "You've been sleeping with my best friend?" Her voice cracked. "For 5 years." Sasha reached for her. "Paula, please let me explain." Paula yanked her arm away. "Don't touch me. Don't you dare touch me." The room erupted. My father demanded answers. My mother pressed her hand to her mouth, tears streaming. Cousins whispered frantically. Nate's colleagues edged toward the door. Nate found his voice, defensive and desperate. "It wasn't like that. It's complicated. You don't understand the pressure I was under." "Pressure?" Paula's laugh was bitter. "You used pressure as an excuse to betray me with my closest friend?" My father stood, his face rigid with anger. "Nate, how could you do this? To your wife?" Nate turned on me, his desperation morphing into rage. You had no right. This was between us. You promised. I promised to keep your secret if you ended the affair. I cut him off. You didn't. So yes, I had the right. I'm done protecting you while you mock my life and disrespect everyone around you. Paula grabbed her purse. Sasha tried to follow her, pleading, but Paula's voice echoed back. Stay away from me. Both of you. The door slammed. The celebration dissolved into chaos. My mother approached me, her voice trembling. Why would you do this now? Why humiliate him like this? I stared at her, disbelief mixing with old, familiar hurt. He humiliated himself, Mom. I just stopped covering for him. My father tried to mediate, but I was done. I've spent my entire life making excuses for Nate, protecting him, watching him get away with everything while I got blamed for being responsible. Tonight, he called me useless. In front of everyone. After knowing what I sacrificed raising Anna alone. After knowing I kept his secret for years. I grabbed my coat. I'm finished. As I walked toward the door, Nate's voice followed me, cold and threatening. You just destroyed my marriage, Selena. I'm going to deal with you for this. My parents' voices rose behind him. Nate, don't do anything stupid. Nate. I left without looking back. Later that night, he sent me a series of threatening texts. I ignored them. I thought it was all over, but my brother was about to fulfill his promise of dealing with me. 3 days after the incident, I was helping Anna with her math homework at our kitchen table. She was focused, her tongue poking out slightly as she counted on her fingers. The evening was peaceful. Just then the door shook with a violent bang. The sound reverberated through the apartment, rattling the picture frames on the wall. Anna's head snapped up, her eyes wide. Another bang, louder, like someone throwing their weight against the wood. The deadbolt held, but the frame groaned under the impact. Selena. Nate's voice roared from the other side, raw and unhinged. I promised to deal with you for destroying my marriage. The banging continued, rhythmic and furious. Boom, boom, boom. Each strike made the door shudder in its frame. Anna's face crumpled with fear. Mama? Her voice was small, trembling. Why is Uncle Nate yelling? Why is he hitting the door? My heart hammered against my ribs, but I kept my voice calm despite my racing pulse. I grabbed her hand, squeezing it gently. Go to your room, sweetie. Close the door and stay there. Everything's okay. But Mama, now, Anna. Go now. She ran, her footsteps quick and light, glancing back once with tears in her eyes before disappearing down the hallway. I heard her door click shut. Nate kept pounding, kept shouting. You ruined everything. Everything. His fists hammered against the wood. Open this door, Selena. I fumbled for my phone, hands shaking so badly, I nearly dropped it. I dialed 911, pressing the phone to my ear with trembling fingers. My brother is trying to break down my door. He's threatening me and my daughter. Please hurry. My voice came out steadier than I felt. The operator's voice was calm, grounding. What's your address, ma'am? I gave it, my eyes locked on the door as it shook with each blow. Please, he's not stopping. Officers are on the way. Stay on the line with me. Is there a safe room you can go to? The operator asked. My daughter's in her room. I'm staying by the phone. The banging intensified. I could hear Nate's breath now, ragged and furious, between strikes. You think you can destroy me and get away with it? You think. Then, cutting through his rage, sirens. Faint at first, then growing louder, wailing through the neighborhood. Nate's pounding stopped abruptly. No, Selena. No, you didn't just call the cops, did you? You didn't. Sir, step away from the door. A commanding voice outside, sharp and authoritative. Philadelphia police. Step away from the door now. She's the one, you don't understand. Nate's voice turned desperate, pleading. She ruined my life. She deserves. Sir, put your hands where I can see them. Do it now. I'm her brother. I have a right. You have the right to remain silent. Turn around. Hands behind your back. He wasn't listening to the officer. No, wait, just listen to me. There was a scuffle. Footsteps. Nate's voice rising in protest. Get your hands off me. I didn't do anything illegal. Sir, you're under arrest for criminal trespass and harassment. Stop resisting. Then silence. Then firm, authoritative voices giving instructions. When I finally opened the door, my legs weak beneath me, 2 officers had Nate in handcuffs. His face was red, his eyes wild and unfocused. Sweat beaded on his forehead. She ruined my life, he shouted as they led him away, struggling against their grip. She deserves. Sir, you need to remain silent. One officer cut him off, his hand firm on Nate's shoulder. Anything you say can and will be used against you. I gave my statement, my voice surprisingly steady. Showed them the texts Nate had sent over the past few days, each one escalating in anger. Explained the context. After they left, I found Anna curled on her bed, clutching her stuffed rabbit. I held her until her breathing steadied, murmuring promises I intended to keep. You're safe. I've got you. Always. My parents called that evening. My mother's voice was sharp. You called the police on your own brother? That's evil, Selena. I took a breath, forcing calm. I know you love him, Mom. But I cannot ignore threats to my home or my child. Nate's behavior was illegal and threatening. Protecting Anna and myself was the right choice. He's your brother. And Anna is my daughter. That comes first. Every time. I hung up before she could respond. Nate was charged with criminal trespass and harassment. He was released the next day, with conditions. 12 months probation. Mandatory anger management classes. A restraining order barring contact. The legal system, for once, worked quickly. A week later, Paula called. Her voice was small, fragile, breaking on every other word. Why didn't you tell me sooner? About the affair? I chose my words carefully. Paula, I understand why you feel hurt. I didn't speak up sooner because it was never my place to interfere with your marriage. I paused, waiting to hear if she would respond. When she didn't, I continued. And I wanted you to discover the truth for yourself. I hope knowing it now gives you the clarity and space to heal and make the choices that are best for you. She was quiet for a moment. Then her voice cracked completely. 5 years, Selena. 5 years, I was living a lie. I was sleeping next to him every night, planning our future, and he was... She choked on a sob. With her. With my best friend. How do I come back from that? How do I trust anyone again? I don't know, I said softly. But you will. Not today, maybe not for a long time. But you will. I keep thinking, were there signs? Did I miss something? Was I stupid? Her breath hitched. Or was I just too in love to see? You weren't stupid. You trusted the people closest to you. That's not weakness, Paula. That's love. She was silent for a long moment. Thank you. For finally being honest. And for your courage at that dinner. I know it cost you. You deserve to know. I'm filing for divorce, she said, her voice steadier now, resolute. I'm done. Then she hung up. Nate's world crumbled piece by piece after that. Paula followed through with the divorce, and the settlement wasn't kind. She got the house, and Nate had to buy out her half of their joint investments. His reputation at work took hits he couldn't smile away. Words spread about the arrest, the restraining order, the ugly public scene. His promotion came with whispers in the hallways, colleagues who no longer invited him to lunch. 2 of his biggest clients quietly requested reassignment to other advisors. The golden child lost his shine, and there was no one left to polish it for him. My parents eventually called to apologize. It wasn't dramatic or perfect, but it was real. We were wrong to call you evil, my father said. We've always made excuses for Nate. That wasn't fair to you. You were protecting your daughter. You were being a mother. I forgave them because holding on to anger would only hurt Anna and me. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, but it does mean choosing peace over bitterness. One evening a month later, I sat with Anna on our couch. She was curled against me, her small hand in mine, watching her favorite cartoon. Her smile was easy, her eyes clear and trusting. Mama, are we okay? She asked suddenly. I kissed the top of her head. We're more than okay, sweetheart. We're exactly where we need to be. Raising a child alone is not the story I imagined writing. It's hard in ways people don't talk about. It's being everything, parent, provider, protector, with no backup. It's making decisions in the middle of the night with no one to consult. It's wondering if you're enough. But it's also discovering strength you didn't know existed. It's the fierce love that makes you confront family members and call the police when necessary. It's building a life where your child feels safe, even when the world tries to shake that foundation. Healing from verbal and emotional abuse takes time. There are days when Nate's words echo back, when I question my worth. But Anna's laughter drowns out those voices. Her trust reminds me I made the right choices. I didn't destroy Nate's marriage. He did that himself. I just stopped being complicit in the lie. If you stayed with me through this story, thank you. If it resonated with you, I hope you'll share it and leave a comment about your own moments of choosing courage over silence. Sometimes the hardest thing we do is tell the truth when everyone wants us to stay quiet. But truth, even painful truth, is the foundation of real love. And that's the lesson I want Anna to carry forward, that love built on honesty and courage will always outlast love built on obligation and silence. Maybe I'm just a single mother, but I'm not useless. Not to Anna, not to myself, and never again to anyone who tries to make me believe otherwise.